The CEO of the General Authority for Investment and Free Zones reviewed a report on the analysis of foreign direct investment data during the third quarter of the fiscal year 2020-2021. The net foreign investment flows during this period achieved a remarkable increase compared to the corresponding period of the previous fiscal year 2019-2020, with a rise rate of 47.3%, amounting to $1.429 billion. These indicators are in line with the expectations issued by the International Monetary Fund, which stated that foreign direct investments in Egypt are expected to achieve annual growth during the next 4 years. Net foreign direct investment flows to the non-oil sectors during the third quarter of the 2020-2021 fiscal year increased by 21.72%, or $1.911 billion, compared to the corresponding period of the previous fiscal year. The net flows during the third quarter also achieved a growth rate of 25.72% compared to the volume of flows during the previous fiscal quarter of the same fiscal year. With regard to comparing the net foreign direct investments received for the purpose of establishing and expanding companies in the non-petroleum sectors, the CEO of the General Authority for Investment and Free Zones explained that these net investments increased during the third quarter of the fiscal year 2020-2021 by 32.73% compared to the same period the previous fiscal year. On the development of incoming foreign direct investments for the purpose of establishing new companies during the current fiscal year, these investments achieved an upward trend during the third quarter of the current fiscal year 2020-2021, with an increase of 85% compared to the first quarter of the same year. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, continuing our discussion with Ambassador Shalaby. Your Excellency, now 47% increase in direct foreign investments in 3 months. How do you explain that? Well, what happened in those 3 months or prior to those 3 months that prompted this significant growth in direct foreign investment, which has been an issue for many years within the Egyptian economy?
Well, we were speaking about how much Egypt now is a focus, and Egypt has extended a lot of infrastructure. Like they have created a lot of infrastructure, roads, bridges, tunnels, and also the Suez Canal investment industrial zone. Mm-hmm. And this has been attracting a lot of investments, especially that the Suez Canal has, with its new wider space, is able to manage more shipment into this. Trade into the canal. So there is a lot of trade and of investments that are attracted to this area, and it's also free trade. So free trade zone. So it's we have created a climate of investment that is able to attract the multinational companies. Mm-hmm. And we have seen a lot of industrial zones that are flourishing in the past year or so, especially when they discovered that it is an easy way of creating companies and flourishing, whether it is small companies or big companies. And also the facilities, the banking facilities are much more easy now, and the digitalization of banking is not found, believe me, it's not in any other Arab country. That is maybe in North Africa. I have seen a lot of countries that are much more that are not advanced like us. So this is one thing that any investor is looking for. And also, of course, we have the tourism industry, we have the all the different attractions of pharaonic Egypt. So I think in any sector, when you look at any sector, you will find that there are lots of attractive sectors, attractive industries that could help generate income for any investor, whether it is foreign or local. And that is why the foreign investment the FDIs is increasing, and also the possibilities of creating new industries is there.
Yes. Well, we've seen a lot of efforts by the Ministry of International Cooperation and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, really trying to attract foreign investors and really try to raise the level and productivity of the local national industries. But we've also seen quite recently the government pushing the private sector and the small and medium enterprises to play a bigger role within the Egyptian economy and play a bigger role in its growth. How much of a role and impact do you feel the private sector and the SMEs play within the growth of the Egyptian economy?
Well, they were not taking a big role before, but now the government is encouraging them, and they are giving them a lot of facilities, especially long-term loans with very low interest, and trying to facilitate the bureaucratic and the red tapes and all this, trying to facilitate the inclusion of private sector and small and medium industries, small and medium enterprises, because actually the informal economy is very big, and in order to legalize it, you have to really attract those the informal into the formal economy, and this is the only way to do it, because many Egyptians have how do you say, the style of life that they do commerce, even in their own villages or in their own way. So that if the government facilitates these small industries in Upper Egypt or in other districts and provinces, it is possible that the economy will grow more, and it will include more people, more youth who are looking for jobs, because now it's not the time to look for a governmental job. The way is to do your own startup, to do your own small industry or small
business,
so that you can flourish and you can have more. You can grow very fast, faster than just becoming an employee in the government.
Yes. Your Excellency, now you've mentioned the financial inclusion, which really takes care of the informal economy here in Egypt, but also there's been this talk about the investment law for many years, and we've seen the government and the parliament really go through many procedures and efforts to help establish a good and healthy investment law for the foreign investors. What would you say are the biggest challenges or the things that the Egyptian government and population actually needs to overcome to help even speed up the growth, more growth for the Egyptian economy?
Well, the problem is, of course, the feasibility studies and the legal aspect of the investment law. It is very easy to open up to all the investments and and attract a lot of foreign investments. But at the same time, we have to protect our local industries, and that is why we have to really safeguard our local industry, and also at the same time have the right for the investors, foreign investors, to invest in our country with legal protection. And this is what all of them are looking for, financial and legal protection. Whenever there is any way to take their money back, it is possible. And this is something that they were discussing it in, as you said, in the two houses, houses of parliaments, that in order to also secure the country from those who want to just take a quick profit and run away with our natural resources or with our money or whatever. So the banks should be very careful about the loans that they give.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely an economic growth has been recorded here in Egypt over the past few years, be it because of as a result of the governmental and the ministry's efforts, or the private sector, or the small and medium enterprises, the flourishing of many different sectors, the strengthening of already existing sectors that have been hit by the coronavirus pandemic. But definitely, as Ambassador Shalaby mentioned, there's a lot to be hopeful for more growth and a speedier growth in the near future. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. But before we go, I'd like to thank my distinguished guest, Ambassador Soad Shalaby, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Shalaby, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Nile International. I'm Hani Saif. Thank you for joining us.